My family forged a will to steal my grandpa's farm. I let them inherit the $600,000 debt. Here's your jaw drop. My cousins forged a will so they could win grandpa's farm, and I let them sign themselves into a $600,000 acceleration clause while they took a victory selfie that said, "Legacy secured." The door swings open mid-argument. They're grinning like they just won a tractor on a game show I don't watch but loudly judge. I slide my phone on record under my folder and smile like a church usher who knows the hymn is off-key. "Grandpa wanted the farm to stay in the family," Marla chirps, reciting their Canva law script. "The sunsets look rich. The farm is rich in liens." I know, they don't. Fine. They want it so bad? Enjoy 600,000 regrets. The farm, the fault line, the motive. Grandpa didn't die so much as he faded, like a denim jacket that still fits but shouldn't. People brought casseroles, which is Southern for "I love you, here's a sodium brick." Texts rolled in offering thoughts and prayers and 0 Tupperware returns. Then, like a raccoon hearing the rustle of a trash bag, Marla became helpful. Brent volunteered for paperwork despite once Googling how to jump a car with positive vibes. That boy could lose an email in a paper bag. Under the pretty sky, reality looked like a mechanical rodeo. The combines were older than my student loans, and the refinancing stack had more layers than a wedding cake baked by a liar. Balloon payments played peekaboo with our blood pressure. I had a handshake rule with Grandpa. If they cut corners, they'll cut you. And yes, I carved that into my spine right next to my scoliosis of the soul. First red flag, the P.O. box key went missing. Translation, Marla organized it into the shadow realm. Then the bank called to say a matter was already handled, which made my left eye twitch on a schedule like a haunted metronome. I started receipts, photocopies, phone logs, screenshots, and an email to future me labeled, "Hi, lawyer bait." My notes app looked like a detective with snacks. I went looking for duct tape and found the emergency tin behind the canned peaches, which, fun fact, had expired during a presidency we don't talk about. If Grandma hid something there, you knew it mattered or would explode. Spoiler, both. Grandpa had always been blunt in the way a shovel is blunt. His love language was chores and coffee. He'd tap my shoulder with a grease-stained finger and say, "People tell you who they are by how they borrow." My cousins borrowed like seagulls, loud, entitled, and full of tragic confidence. They invented a new unit of measure. 1. Brent equals 5 favors never returned. Marla didn't just get helpful. She staged helpful. Pearls. Clipboard. Voice like a radio fundraiser. "I'm just trying to keep us together." "Ma'am, the pearls are doing CrossFit and the clipboard is cosplaying authority." Meanwhile, Brent reorganized the file cabinet into a crime scene. He labeled folders important, very important, and taxes but scary. He's the reason Post-its are a controlled substance. Grandpa's slow fade meant hospital trips where the vending machine ate quarters and dignity equally. He'd squeeze my hand and say, "Don't let them make a mess you gotta clean." The mess was already auditioning for Broadway. The farm's soil was good, the equipment was sentimental, and the loans had a sense of humor I did not appreciate. Let me paint the family portrait. Marla, eldest, believes in manifesting money by announcing it loudly into group chats. She thinks an LLC is a personality. Brent, middle child, allergic to accountability and sleeves. He owns one tie and it looks like it flinches. The neutral cousins are Switzerland with better snacks. Me? I take photos of everything because memory is cute, but documents testify. That's when the missing P.O. box key turned into my hobby. Brent swore he returned it to the bowl. There are 17 bowls in this house. Fruit bowls, key bowls, bowl-shaped ashtrays from a garage sale in 1998. I finally find the key in a ceramic rooster with dreams of grandeur. I open the box. Empty. Of course. Back home, I decide to clean Grandpa's pantry like a raccoon with a spreadsheet. Behind canned peaches and a jar labeled, "Not pickles," I find the tin. My pettiness starts humming. The tin is dented, which means history. I set it aside because I know myself. If I open it now, I'll forget to eat and pass out like a Victorian orphan. Meanwhile, the gossip economy thrives. Marla floats the line, "Grandpa said he wanted the farm to stay in the family." Which family? The don't read contracts family? That phrase felt packaged. It had the energy of a motivational poster that says hustle, but the person who hung it steals pens. My suspicion filed a W-2 and started working full-time. Every time I checked on Grandpa, he was steady. Even fading, he tracked details. He would ask, "Did you call the co-op?" I did. "Did you lock the pump house?" I had. Did. "You eat?" I lied. He grinned, because he knew I consider caffeine a food group. He never misspelled his own name, never missed a head count on the cows, and never trusted a promise without paper. The fault line? It wasn't the money, it was the math. Marla hears numbers like jazz. She claps on 1 and 3. Brent treats debt like a rumor. But the farm doesn't care about feelings. It cares about invoices. Grandpa knew that. He kept the operator steady because banks love routine like cats love boxes. Change the operator without thinking? The bank will start speaking in final notice. I started scanning. Every deed, nickname, sticky notes, dates on the backs of envelopes. I turned into a librarian with a grudge and a ring light. I labeled the safe not Narnia. I texted myself passwords I will never decode. I set notification alerts for phrases like callable and acceleration, because nothing says weekend fun like compliance. Then there was the day I went out to the barn and stood in the doorway listening to the dust sing. The fields rolled out like tired gold. My phone buzzed. Group chat. We should plan the will reading. It was all brunch energy and zero ethics. I typed cool and went to find duct tape. That's when the canned peaches blinked at me. The tin waited, and my petty sharpened its knives gently, lovingly, like we were about to host a very special family dinner. Inciting incident, the tin and the note. So I finally cracked the tin like a safecracker whose tools are anxiety and a butter knife. Inside, the kind of paperwork that smells like dust and petty. On top sits a crisp, notarized copy of Grandpa's will. Actual signatures, actual dates, and none of the glitter pen nonsense my cousins printed from Canva Law School. My soul does a little two-step. Under that, a folded index card with Grandpa's handwriting, blocky, stubborn, sweet like a threat with a hug. It says, "If they crowd you, check the barn ledger." My grandpa left me a scavenger hunt, and step 1 was, be nosy. I hold the will up to the light like I'm about to toast it. His signature is there, the goofy little loop he always added to the P, like his pen slipped on a banana peel. On the new will, that loop was missing, like someone tried to copy his name after mixing NyQuil with a YouTube tutorial. Cute try, criminals. 10 out of 10 for audacity, -4 for penmanship. Panic tries to tap my shoulder. What if I'm wrong? Then Petty slaps Panic's hand away and takes the wheel. Petty says, "Oh, we're doing evidence now." I flatten the index card. Barn ledger, of course. Grandpa didn't just keep books. He kept history. Capital H, using a pencil sharpened with a pocket knife. The man could budget a harvest while changing a fan belt and sipping coffee that stripped paint. I snap photos. I scan like a raccoon with a scanner app. I email them to future litigious me with the subject line, "Hi, lawyer bait, deluxe edition." Then I call our family lawyer, the one Grandpa trusted because he's boring in a way that builds legal foundations. His voice arrives lukewarm, like unsalted oatmeal that pays taxes on time. "Bring all documents," he says. I say, "I'll bring snacks too." He ignores me, which is how I know he's legit. I compare signatures side by side on the kitchen table like a mom at a science fair judging volcanoes. Grandpa's loop is so consistent the Secret Service would clap. On Marla's version, the letters look strangely hydrated, like they drank water wrong. I highlight the discrepancies, because I too went to Google University with a minor in do. I don't argue, I archive. We're not debating vibes, we're building an exhibit. The index card burns in my pocket like a dare. I head to the barn at dusk, because if you're going to discover a financial nuke, you might as well have dramatic lighting. The air smells like hay and stories. I climb the old ladder to the office shelf, the one you have to side-eye so it doesn't collapse out of spite. Top shelf, the ledger, big as a family Bible and twice as judgmental. I lay it open and the margins confetti at me. Notes, dates, the kind of underlines that say somebody meant it. Pages track everything. Seed purchases, diesel tantrums, crop insurance hiccups. I find a sticky tab the color of school bus shame. Under it, a neat little list of loans with interest rates that hiss. And a balloon note that might as well be a jump scare. $600,000 callable if ownership or operator changes without notice. I blink. The barn blinks back. Gravity deepens. This is Grandpa's quiet brawl from beyond. Keep the operator steady, and the bank stays housecat calm. Play musical chairs with the deed, and the bank turns into a velociraptor with a calculator. In the margin, in Grandpa's square handwriting, if they want it, make them keep it. I laugh out loud, big and messy, then stop laughing, because $600,000 is not a punchline. It's a marching band. But also, chef's kiss chaos, a booby trap with a rulebook. I call the lender to confirm, speakerphone so the barn can witness. The hold music is composed by a demon with a xylophone. Finally, a rep reads policy citations like bedtime stories for accountants. Yes, the clause exists. Yes, it's recorded. Yes, changes trigger acceleration. I thank her like she just saved my crops and my patience. I duplicate everything. Photos, scans, backups on 2 clouds and a thumb drive I labeled "Do Not Eat Brent." I stash a copy at my friend's house because she has a spare key and fewer feelings. Then I sit on a hay bale, holding the index card, and let my heart slow down. No arguing, no Facebook sermons, just librarian with a grudge mode on. When I leave the barn, the sky is the color of receipts. I lock up, tuck Grandpa's note back in the tin, and put the tin behind the peaches like a feral librarian. They want the farm so bad? Perfect. I'm going to give them exactly what they asked for, with an itemized list, notarized, and salted with destiny. The ledger and the poison pill. I take the ledger to the kitchen table like I'm introducing it to the good china. It sits there, heavy as guilt, smelling faintly of motor oil and spite. I flip to the loans page again, because if a number is going to ruin my day, I want to look it in the eye. $600,000. A number so tall it needs sunscreen? Callable if operator changes without notice. Translation: if Marla and Brent play hot potato with the title, the bank turns into a raptor in khakis. Grandpa's note in the margin is the opposite of subtle. If they want it, make them keep it. The man left me a moral principle and a trapdoor. I can practically hear him stirring sugar into coffee he swore was already sweet. My laugh comes out like a hiccup. Then I stop because, reminder, this is the kind of money that makes accountants sweat through their blazers. I call the lender again because I need a bedtime story with citations. The agent introduces herself like she's my financial therapist. Yes, Miss Bowen, the clause is operative. Operative. I love when policies talk like Navy SEALs. She reads the section numbers while I nod like I understand Latin. I ask if a celebratory selfie counts as acceptance of ownership. She pauses, then says, if they sign for title and operate, yes. Bless her and her cheerful doom. I hang up and start duplicating like a raccoon with a copy machine. Phone photos, flatbed scans, cloud backups, second cloud because the first cloud feels judgy. I label folders with names that would make a hacker cry. Grain silo scrunchy. Hard copies go into plastic sleeves because I am not losing this to a coffee spill and a tantrum. I drop a duplicate packet at my friend Kendra's house where everything is labeled, and even the labels have labels. She opens the door with a face mask on and says, "Is this the drama?" I say, "This is the syllabus." Back home, I reread Grandpa's instructions like they're a recipe card. Ingredients: 1 ledger, 1 policy clause, 2 cousins marinated in entitlement, and a dash of patience. Bake at 375 until karma rises. The oven is preheated. I call the county title office to schedule a cheerful congrats on inheriting appointment in my cousin's names. It's not for me, it's for the paper trail. The clerk loves a good binder. Bring cookies, she says. I can provide cookies and a soul made of receipts. This is what we call hospitality with a side of consequences. Then I practice my face in the bathroom mirror. Neutral, generous, maybe even supportive. The vibe is, I'm happy for you, with a secret soundtrack of doom jazz. I rehearse lines, if that's what Grandpa wanted, and you know best. It is the most acting I've done since middle school when I got cast as Tree 2 and still managed to blink at the wrong time. Next, I write myself a script for the will reading like I'm prepping for a hostage negotiation with hors d'oeuvres. Step 1. Do not argue. Step 2. Ask politely to see originals. Step 3. Smile in a way that conveys both blessing and the faint scent of lemon-scented disinfectant. Step 4. As soon as they accept the farm, email the lender with a change of operator courtesy ping. Attach photos, dates, and emojis? No, we're not monsters. I call the family lawyer, the boring one, the one who thinks humor is a tax liability, and confirm the plan. He says, documentation is everything. I say, story of my dating life. He clears his throat like I put a swear jar in his soul. Fine.
We'll keep it sterile and legal, like an operating room with a punchline. Because paranoia is just organized caution, I also print the penal code section on forgery and stick it in a folder labeled just in case. I highlight the fun parts, by which I mean the parts that say felony. My highlighter squeaks like it's gossiping. I put that folder under the ledger like a coaster. We are layered. We are ready. Brent texts the group chat a blurry photo of a tractor with the caption,
Soon. The tractor in question is ours and also broken. Marla posts a quote about family unity over a sunset I recognize as my literal backyard. I consider replying with a crop insurance clause, then decide to save my petty calories for the main course. Night falls. I make tea strong enough to qualify as advice. I sit with the ledger open and let the numbers hum. This isn't revenge. This is respect. Grandpa kept the operator steady because banks hate surprises. My cousins think wills are wish lists and debt is fan fiction. They want the farm because sunsets and Instagram. I want the farm to breathe, even if I'm not the one driving the tractor. I give myself 1 minute to grieve out loud, for what should have been simple, for a name written carefully in a shaky hand. For a man who taught me that the person who returns the tool on time gets handed the next job. Then I set the timer. Grief gets its minute. Petty gets the rest of the night. I slide the ledger back into its sleeve. I tuck Grandpa's index card behind the front cover where the paper is warm from my hands. I return the tin to the pantry behind the canned peaches because traditions matter. I lock the back door, turn off the kitchen light, and catch my reflection in the glass. Tired, stubborn, a little feral. Perfect. Tomorrow, I'll wear my quietest shoes and my friendliest earrings. I'll sit at the will reading and let them celebrate the prize they printed at home. And when the pen lifts from the page and the selfies start, I'll press send on an email that sounds exactly like a door clicking shut. The will reading, gloating, and paper cuts. The conference room was packed like a potluck nobody labeled. Marla's pearls had their own attitude problem, clacking like castanets every time she fake laughed. Brent was live texting under the table like an unpaid influencer at a boring launch, thumbs going 100 miles an hour while his brain took a nap. The lawyer, Mr. Oatmeal, sat at the head, papers aligned with the precision of a man who irons socks. I picked a chair where the fluorescence didn't wash me out and placed my folder like a polite bomb. He started reading with the emotional range of a dial tone. Last will and testament, updated version, beneficiaries. Marla clasped her pearls like a church bell. Brent smiled like he understood numbers. My eyebrows went on a quick walk. They'd left forwarding info. Then the line, the farm shall go to Marla and Brent. Silence did jazz hands. I blinked, counted to 5, and organized my face into supportive wallpaper. The paper rustled. My eyes did a quick lap. Wrong middle initial. Grandpa never misspelled himself. Not once. Not on checks. Not on cow tags. Not on my childhood birthday cards where he wrote, "Don't be weird," instead of "love you." Ding, ding, ding. Every alarm clock in my brain threw confetti. "May I see the originals?" I asked, voice buttered and harmless. Mr. Oatmeal's eyes did the floor shuffle tango. He stacked, unstacked, restacked. Will, provide certified copies. Sure, I said, smiling like a cat at a goldfish parade. But originals confirm chain of custody. You know how Grandpa was. Translation. Don't insult me with printer ink. Brent leaned back, laced fingers behind his head, and said to the room, City girl couldn't manage dirt if it came in a bag. You gotta learn soil on YouTube. Everyone pretended not to hear the sound of my soul taking notes. Marla chimed in. We just want to honor Grandpa's wishes. He told me in the hospital hallway between Jell-O flavors. Her tone skid around sincerity and face planted into performative. The pearls nodded like hype men. I nodded too. Absolutely, Grandpa's wishes. I pulled my phone and, with one thumb and a halo, drafted an email to the lender. Per policy, operator change notified. See attached. I had the photo of their deed folder selfie queued up like a party trick. Brent had posted it to the group chat 30 seconds earlier with the caption, Bosses. I copy-pasted it like a librarian stealing candy. Mr. Oatmeal cleared his throat. There will be a brief waiting period for title transfer. He said, brief like fresh gravel. Marla squeezed Brent's hand for the photo op. Someone's perfume attacked my sinuses with the grace of a leaf blower. I thought of Grandpa's note tucked in my bag and felt a calm so firm it could bench press. Any questions? He asked the table. I raised a finger. 2 small ones. Did Grandpa personally instruct the notary on the date? He hesitated. I kept smiling.
And second, could you read the middle name again? Just for my notes. He did. The wrong one. Brent giggled. Marla did a shrug you could use as a spatula. I typed, operator change effective today, and attached 3 things like confetti bombs wrapped in manners. The reading summary, their acceptance photos, and the clause highlight with neon dignity. I CC'd the lender's compliance inbox, customer service, and that one transactional email address.
That responds at 2 a.m. with legal thunder. Then I folded my hands and asked for a glass of water like I'd earned it. Marla launched into a toast with a latte from a place that spells names like riddles. To family, she beamed. Brent said, to legacy, which, coming from him, sounded like a daredevil saying, trust me. I clinked my paper cup and said, to paperwork. Nobody laughed. That's okay. The bank would. Outside, near the elevators, Marla cornered me with a smile that had warranty issues. I know this is hard for you, she said, laying a hand on my arm like she was blessing a casserole. Grandpa looked at me once and said legacy in Morse code with his eyebrows. Which is happening, I said sweetly. I'm so glad you're stepping up. Translation. Good luck, operators. Hope you brought a helmet. Brent sauntered over. We'll get you some eggs when the hens start laying, he announced, generous as a pirate. I'm gonna fix that tractor too. It just needs premium gas and a reset. Great plan, I said. Maybe try the key first. He squinted. What key? Exactly. I sipped my water like it was tea steeped in foreknowledge. Back in the room, Mr. Oatmeal tried to hustle everyone toward signatures with the urgency of a man allergic to drama. He slid forms and sticky flags like a dealer at a casino where the house runs on boredom. Marla posed mid-sign, head tilted, eyelashes like craned rebar. Brent's signature looked like a squirrel danced in ink. I watched without blinking. Moments like this deserve memory foam. Paper cuts began their quiet work. Marla hissed. Ow. She sucked her fingertip like consequences were spicy. Brent wiped his with the back of his hand and smeared a small Rorschach blot into the margin. I studied it like the universe had a sense of humor and used gel pens. When it was done, the cousins took a victory selfie in front of the firm's beige wall. Beige never looked so smug. I stood slightly off to the side, smiling the way you smile at toddlers who have discovered the concept of taxes. Ding. My phone buzzed. The lender's auto-reply, notice received. 30 seconds later, your assigned team will reach out. The stopwatch started. I complimented Marla's blazer, which was doing overtime. She preened. Brent tried to spin a stapler like a fidget toy and almost took out a ficus. On the way out, Mr. Oatmeal gave me a look that said he suspected weather. If you have concerns, we can schedule a meeting, he murmured. I prefer documentation, I said. Meetings are where minutes are kept and hours are lost. He almost smiled. Almost. By the parking lot, the cousins were already composing captions about legacy and grit. I held the door for them like a lady and a loaded spring. The sun was bright, the asphalt hot, and somewhere in a climate-controlled office far away, compliance stretched, sipped coffee, and stood up. Counter move, triggering the clause. I got to my car, shut the door, and pressed send like I was launching a tiny, polite missile. Notice to lender, operator changed per policy. Attached. The will reading summary I typed in real time like a court stenographer in lip gloss, their victory selfie, and the clause highlight so yellow it could guide planes. Subject line, courtesy notification, change of operator, courtesy, because I was raised right, notification, because I was tired. Compliance woke up like a dragon stretching. First email, received. Second email, 2 minutes later, please confirm effective date and scope of operations. I typed, effective now. Scope, all row crops, livestock, equipment use. Attached 3 more receipts and a PDF named WeLoveDocumentation.pdf because I'm fun at parties. They replied with the speed of oatmeal that discovered espresso. Stopwatch started. Coffee tasted like triumph. Brent texted, can you CC me on the farm Wi-Fi? Sir, we are CCing you on a financial extinction event. I booked a congrats appointment at the title office in their names, which is what we call setting the table for dinner they will regret eating. The clerk said, will you be bringing cookies? And I said, yes, and comprehensive indexing. I packed chocolate chip and quiet malice in a tote with a floral print. She sighed happily. Brent texted me for the barn keys before I even hit the stoplight. We need keys like now. I said, of course, and sent a high-resolution photo of the key ring with an arrow pointing to the label that read Pump House, Not For You. Timing? Chef's kiss. As if on cue, compliance emailed acceleration steps like a recipe card from hell. Pre-acceleration notice, proof of operator change, deadline for cure. I read it out loud to the steering wheel, and the steering wheel said nothing because it knows drama when it hears it. I pulled into the farm and sat in the driveway, letting the truck tick itself cool. I wanted Grandpa's fields alive. I wanted the dirt to breathe, the cows to be bored, the wind to stop sounding like worry. This wasn't a revenge musical. This was the rule. Keep the operator steady. They'd picked the wrong rodeo. Inside, I printed the lender's checklist and highlighted like a kindergarten teacher possessed by a paralegal. Status board, green checks for notification, proof of change, public acceptance. Thank you, Brent's Instagram, with its heroic caption about securing the legacy spelled legacy. I added a sticky note, do not correct, let the typo live. Then I packed a welcome basket for my cousins because I'm supportive. Contents, cheap work gloves, a laminated map of the pasture lines, and the equipment manuals Grandpa annotated with "Don't be dumb" in the margins. On top, a card. Happy operating, per policy. I took a photo for my scrapbook labeled Consequences, Summer Edition. The lender called. A woman introduced herself as Senior Compliance Counsel, which sounded like she bench presses statutes. We're reviewing your notice, she said. Do you have any additional evidence of operational control transfer? Would their own celebratory posts counting? I asked, already emailing the screenshot where Brent's holding a manila folder like a fishing trophy. Yes, she said softly, the way surgeons say scalpel. And just to confirm, the loan's acceleration clause triggers upon change in operator? She recited the section number like scripture. I said, amen, and she didn't laugh, which I respect. On my way to the title office, I stopped by the co-op to schedule deliveries under hold. Not canceled, on hold. The manager nodded like we were discussing weather patterns and uncles. You expecting turbulence? He asked. Oh, just a light chop, I said. Wear a seatbelt. At the title office, I handed over the cookies and a cover letter that started with congrats to the new operators and ended with 5 bullet points and a statute citation. The clerk read it like a romance novel. This is tidy, she whispered. I love tidy. I said me too, and we shared a look that was 90% spreadsheets. Halfway home, Brent called. I let it ring twice for dignity. Gate code, he said. Now. I said, absolutely. It's the same as always. He said, what is it? I said, the number you used to know when you showed up to help. Silence. Then, text it. I did. While he typed it wrong 4 times, the lender sent the formal pre-acceleration notice. Subject, intent to accelerate. Fonts that screamed. Marla group texted, we need to talk. I texted back a thumbs up and a calendar link titled Calmly Scheduled Discussion About Choices. Then I emailed copies of the notice to my lawyer, my archive folder, and Kendra, who replied with a gif of a raccoon washing grapes. Appropriate. I put the phone down and stood at the kitchen window. The field edges feathered in the breeze. The barn leaned the way old men lean, stubborn and proud. I whispered, okay, breathe, and the place seemed to listen. Petty quieted for a second. Principal took the mic. When I turned back to the table, another email had landed. Acceleration timeline attached. Cure period begins immediately. I opened the PDF, skimmed deadlines, and felt the universe click into place like a well-set fence post. I didn't dance. I did the dishes. Same satisfaction. Fewer witnesses. Escalation. The first bill arrives. Certified mail is the Postal Service's way of saying, you are about to learn something unpleasant. Marla's front porch camera caught the mailman handing her a thick envelope like a live grenade. 10 minutes later, my phone lit up like the 4th of July in a dry county. Group chat. What is this? Caps lock, 7 question marks, a photo of the letter, and a manicure choice I would not have made. The letter itself had fonts that screamed in legalese. Intent to accelerate, some do. $600,000. Due upon change in control. My favorite line. Failure to cure will result in further action. I could hear the further action putting on its boots. Neutral cousin forwarded the screenshot with the comment, oh wow, which is Switzerland for pass the popcorn. I obliged. Microwave. Butter. Salt. Knee tucked up on the chair like I was watching rain. Marla followed with voice notes that sounded like a soprano balloon deflating. You did this. I typed. Policy predates all of us. See clause 7.3.2, effective date in 2009. I attached a PDF and a smile emoji so small you needed a microscope. Brent chimed in, we'll just undo it, like Control Z. Undo what, Gravity? I replied. You accepted operational control, publicly, 3 times, with filters. He sent back the eye roll emoji, which is brave in the face of math. Their lawyer tried a rescind-o-matic maneuver. We will be returning the keys and declining to act as operators. The lender responded like a polite guillotine. Receipt of title acceptance and evidence of operation control is documented. Rescission not applicable. See recordings. Recordings. Plural. Brent's selfie with the deed folder, their handshake in the conference room, the caption, Legacy secured. That last one doing the heavy comedic lifting. Receipts tap danced in my inbox wearing tiny top hats. Marla summoned a family talk at her house, which smells like eucalyptus and denial. I brought the barn ledger in a casserole carrier, because that's called branding. Brent opened the door with the energy of a bouncer at a church lock-in. No phones, he announced. I set mine on airplane mode and smiled like a flight attendant who knows the landing will be rough. At the table, the letter lay between the decorative wooden bowl and a candle labeled Ocean Regret. Marla pinched the bridge of her nose like she was massaging away responsibility. Why didn't you warn us? She demanded. I slid the ledger out like a roast, open to the loans page. Laid my fingertip on the clause. Because I told you to read everything, and you told me to relax, I said softly. Now I'm relaxed. Brent poked the ledger like it might bite. This is your copy. I turned the page, showed the margin with Grandpa's square handwriting. This is his copy, I said. The room tilted just enough to make the chandelier nervous. Marla tried a new tack. Tears. Grandpa wanted unity. I let the sentence sit until it wilted. Unity isn't forgery cosplay, I said. Unity is calling the co-op when the fence is down at midnight. Brent muttered, You're dramatic. I nodded, and organized. Marla waved the letter. They can't make us pay this. I pulled a printout from my folder like a magician who bills by the hour. They can. Section numbers highlighted. And before you ask, yes, the notary logs are a problem for you, not for me. Silence did the heavy lifting. You could hear the diffuser gurgle. In the distance, a lawnmower reconsidered its life. Brent tried a business voice he borrowed from YouTube. We'll get a bridge loan. I made a pitch deck. Slide 1 is a sunset. I said, bridge loans require a bridge. He said, we'll sell equipment. I said, it's collateral. He said, we'll sell the house. I shrugged. Houses sell. Clauses cling. Each idea fell like a wet sock. Marla reached for anger. You orchestrated this. I shook my head. Grandpa orchestrated the rule. I followed the sheet music. She flinched at the word rule like it had teeth. Her lawyer called on speaker. We suggest negotiating with the lender. The lender does not negotiate with vibes. We're prepared to propose a workout plan, he continued, meaning, we'll stall until the fees breed. I pointed to the timeline on the letter. Cure period is short. Fees are sprouting like zucchini. Neutral cousin coughed. Do we have another option? I closed the ledger gently. Yes. Resign your claims and let competent operators step in. The debt stays where it is. Marla recoiled like I'd offered her a sandwich made of consequences. Never, she spat. Pride beat math 3-0 in. Overtime, the scoreboard laughed in local weather. A new ding. The lender followed up with, acknowledgement of change in control, signature required. Brent slapped the paper like it misbehaved. We're not signing that, I shrugged. You already did. That one tells you the clock is loud, he glared. You think you're winning? I shook my head. I think the dirt deserves boring adults. On my way out, I placed the ledger in front of Marla like a mirror. Read it, I said, all the way through. It's his handwriting. She stared at the margin note, lips tight. The candle guttered like it knew gossip. At home, I put my phone back on oxygen and watched the group chat go silent. A final message from the lender slid in, efficient and inevitable. Acceleration notice dispatched via certified mail to all parties. I washed my popcorn bowl, set it upside down to dry, and listened to the quiet stretch out like a cat in a sunbeam. The first bill had landed. The next thing to fall would be the act. Confrontation. You knew? You shows? Marla scheduled the summit in a conference room that looked like it sold beige professionally. She'd upgraded from eucalyptus to lemon law. Brent wore a blazer that squeaked every time he moved, like it missed being a couch. I arrived with the barn ledger under one arm and a Tupperware of brownies under the other, because nothing says receipts like sugar and citations. Marla started with a sigh you could hang curtains on. You knew. She aimed it at me like a taser. I set the ledger down and popped the brownie lid. "You chose," I said, offering the plate. "Carb up. Decisions burn calories." Brent slapped the table. "You set us up." He had veins in his forehead spelling Wi-Fi passwords. I nudged the ledger open to the loans page. "Grandpa set a rule. You climbed over it in flip-flops." I tapped the margin note, his square handwriting. "If they cut corners, they'll cut you." "That's a warning, not a riddle." Marla blinked in italics. "This ledger could be anything." She gestured broadly, as if waving could unwrite pencil. "Cool," I said. "Cool as freezer peas. We'll submit it for forensic examination. Paper fibers, ink age, chain of custody. Also, here's the photo of Grandpa writing in it, dated 3 years ago, with a coffee stain shaped like Ohio." I slid the print across. Brent's mouth forgot words and vowels and settled on goo. He rallied with bravado. "That will was real. We downloaded the template from a lawyer forum." His voice cracked on real like puberty stopped by to help. "Then you won't mind a forensic look there too," I said. "Handwriting analysis, notary logs, device metadata. Did you know the notary stamp you used was out of service that day?" I smiled gently. "Sprinkles." Marla stared, then jabbed a finger at the lender's letter. "This is sabotage." "This is policy," I said. "Predates my mascara. The clause triggers on change in operator. That's you, on film. With filters." Brent leaned back and tried to smirk, but it slid off. We were grieving and confused. The notary said it was fine on weekdays. "And also celebrating in the lobby?" I said. "Grief looks different on everyone. Yours looked like hashtags." Marla softened her voice to marshmallow. "Grandpa wanted unity." "Unity isn't forgery," I said. "Unity is watching the herd at 2 a.m. when the fence goes down in sleet. Did you know the fence code before today?" Silence pinballed around. The ficus leaned away from responsibility. Brent jabbed at the ledger again. He didn't mean this to blow up. I flipped the page to the clause, slid my finger under the line like a preschool teacher. He meant keep the operator steady, because banks like boring. You two are fireworks inside a library. Marla crossed her arms. "We'll fix it. We'll get a loan." "Bridge loan denied," I said, handing over the email from the bank they'd already tried. "Debt to income is throwing hands. Also, equipment sales blocked. Collateral tags say hi. Also, bankruptcy trustees love a fraudulent conveyance like my cat loves a sunspot." Brent's face did long division and failed. "So, what? You expect us to just swallow $600K, like in payments, like Klarna?" "I expect you to read before you cosplay competence," I said, "and to accept that you wanted the farm for the sunset, not the spreadsheets. That's fine. Wanting is free. Owning is invoices." Marla took a breath, went for guilt. "You wouldn't be doing this if you loved Grandpa." "I'm doing this because I loved Grandpa," I said. He trusted routine. He trusted paper. He trusted that when someone tells you the rule, you don't decorate it, you follow it. She glared so hard her mascara clumped. "We're going to sue." I slid a printout across the table. State criminal statute on forgery, underlined like a marching band. Neat. Here's the number for the DA. Oh, and here's the notary log showing their stamp was out of service. If we're doing court, let's bring snacks. I pushed the brownies. Forward. Fudge? Brent didn't take a brownie. He took the bait. "You're enjoying this." "I'm enjoying competence," I said. "And I'm enjoying the idea of cows not wondering why their hay is late because someone's filming a reel about legacy." I turned the ledger so they could both see the margin again. "He wrote the rule for a reason. He knew you." Marla's lip quivered, then steadied into anger. "You could have warned us." "I did," I said, "for months. Read everything. Don't rush. Don't change operators without notice. You told me to relax." I pointed at the letters. "This is me relaxed." Her phone buzzed. She peeked. The lender again, asking for competency affidavits. She paled. Brent went gray like a photocopy. "We'll just deny we accepted," he muttered. "You posed," I said. "You signed. You posted. You requested gate codes, demanded keys, scheduled deliveries, told the co-op to put feed on your account, and sidebarred a mechanic for the tractor. That's called holding the steering wheel." Marla pressed fingertips to her temples. "There has to be a way out." "There is," I said. "Resign your claims. Let competent operators step in. Debt stays with the party who triggered the clause. Fields get tended. Grandpa's dirt breathes. Never, she said. Pride wore her face like a bad hat. Brent stood abruptly, chair squawking. We're done here. We are, for today, I said, closing the ledger with ceremony. The clock isn't. I slid a brownie toward him anyway. He didn't take it. I wrapped it in a napkin. For later. Sugar helps when math doesn't. At the door, Marla grabbed my sleeve. Say you're sorry. For what? I asked. For not letting this go. I held her gaze. I'm sorry you thought the farm was a backdrop. It's a job. I freed my sleeve. Jobs have rules. Outside, the hall smelled like copier and regret. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Another lender timestamp. I smiled without teeth and headed for the stairs. Somewhere down the corridor, Brent muttered something about lawyers. Somewhere up the chain, compliance sharpened its pencils. I tucked the ledger close, the brownies closer, and walked out into heat that made the asphalt shimmer like a lie. The legal turn. Forgery, fraud, and flight. I woke up mean and organized. Coffee, binder, clean shirt that says, "Don't test me" in beige. I drove to the DA's office with the barn ledger riding shotgun like a chaperone. The receptionist had a bun that could hold secrets. Reason for your visit? She asked. Forgery and light cardio, I said, setting the binder down so it thumped like a heartbeat. Inside, chain of custody, signature comparisons, the wrong middle initial, screenshots, timestamps, and a tab labeled Notary Shenanigans with a smiley face, because I'm festive. The assistant DA read in silence like a priest at a spicy confession. This is thorough, she said, which is prosecutor for bless you, petty librarian. We'll need the notary logs. I slid them across. Already subpoenaed in anticipation, I said, and she gave me a look that said she was upgrading my file from paper to problem solver. By lunch, Marla's lawyer discovered religion in the form of panic. He emailed drafts of wills with dates that moved around like a nervous rabbit. Grandpa was considering changes, he wrote. Considering changes is not a spell. I replied, cute pond, muddy water. Then I put on boots. The DA's office pinged me. The notary logs came back spicy. Stamp status. Out of service on the exact day their will allegedly got notarized. Oops, with sprinkles. The DA called it an anomaly. I called it Tuesday. She asked for my availability to testify. I'm free, I'm punctual, and I bring snacks. She said, we don't eat in court, which is fair, but I've seen bailiffs chew gum. Also, Brent emailed, can we notarize retroactively if our heart was in the right place, which is a legal genre called nope? 2 hours later, the bank joined the party as an interested entity, which is banker for you, cost us time, and time is a yacht. Their recovery team called with voices like sharpened rulers. We'll be monitoring asset movement. I pictured Brent trying to roll a baler down the driveway at midnight while wearing sunglasses. They've already tried, I said. Check Cousins LLC with the name Future Farms 2. There was a pause, then typing, then the quiet joy of a repo man clearing his throat. Family group chat lost its mind like a raccoon in a feed bin. Neutral Cousins sent a vague, maybe stop deleting things, which is how I learned someone was deleting things. Marla went for spiritual warfare with a Bible verse against betrayal and 3 clapping hands. I didn't reply. I fed the DA a second binder. Device metadata for their PDFs, creation timestamps, GPS pings from their phones that day, and Brent's calendar event titled Win Farm Lol Lol. Heard? At dusk, a cousin flipped. Not dramatic, not a movie, just a text. I can't go down with them. She arrived with screenshots, voicemails, and the kind of delete this messages that smell like guilt. They said just copy his signature from the tractor manual, she whispered, ashamed. I hugged her anyway. Shame is boring. Evidence is delicious. Marla's lawyer tried one last waffle. We request a meeting to resolve this privately. Private meetings are where accountability goes to vape. The DA replied, see you at arraignment. I baked cookies shaped like gavels out of spite. The next morning, a deputy served papers like appetizers at a wake. Brent filmed it for content and then remembered content is evidence. He darted off camera like a guilty meerkat. They called me 20 minutes later. You did this, Brent hissed. Paper did this, I said. You just signed it. They ran. Not out of town, don't get excited, but in circles. First,
A quick sale attempt to a guy named Katie who sells cars from a tent, blocked by liens. Then, a bridge loan application that triggered bank alarms I could hear from my porch. Then, equipment shuffled to an LLC so fresh it still smelled like ink. The repo trucks showed up smiling with clipboards. Someone took a selfie with the combine like it was prom. Their lawyer filed a motion to dismiss on the grounds of grief confusion, which is not a law. The DA stacked exhibits like pancakes. Wrong middle name, notary out of service, signature loop missing. Draft metadata created on Marla's iPad the night before Grandpa's last hospital stay, filed under taxes but scary, which is almost poetry. The judge's face did that slow, disappointed dad thing you can hear from across the county. The bank's hold music got meaner, like a xylophone with opinions. A compliance rep emailed me a single line, "Thank you for your cooperation." Translation: "We like tidy." Meanwhile, my cousins pivoted to PR. Marla filmed herself crying in a parked SUV, the natural habitat of public regrets, and called me Judas with a smoky eye. The comments were an open mic for Facebook ants. I scrolled. I did not engage. I forwarded the video to the DA with the subject, "Self-authentication, Exhibit Q." The notary called the DA and then called me, voice shaking like jello in an earthquake. They pressured me to.
Backdate, she blurted. I was dumb, I said. Dumb is forgivable, felonies are sticky. She agreed to cooperate. License, pending a funeral. Court date set. Lender deadlines don't care about vibes, hashtags, or pearls. I walked the fence line that night so I wouldn't combust. The fields breathed like a sleeping animal. I told the dark, "We're going to get you boring." A breeze said okay. On the group chat, silence finally grew like moss. One last ping from Brent. "You'll regret this." I stared at the cows, who do not care about threats. "I regret your haircut," I whispered, and went inside to label another folder. Midpoint crisis, auction threat, and weather. The foreclosure notice hit the county calendar like a jump scare with a gavel. Foreclosure auction. Date, time, coordinates, bring your dead soul and a bitter paddle. I stared at the PDF until the text wiggled. My stomach did the Macarena. My spine tried to file for sick leave. Grandpa's land got a number like cattle at the fair, and I wanted to bite the font. Then the sky decided to join the drama. Weather rolled in sideways, gray and mean, like a mother-in-law with notes. Wind slapped the fence like it owed money. Lightning stitched the horizon with bad intentions. I grabbed a raincoat that used to be yellow and now was mud-flavored and headed out because the cows were texting me in moo. Half the fence went down with a sound like a sigh from God. The ladies took it as an invitation to tour the neighborhood. Nothing says midnight cardio like explaining property lines to adventurous beef in a thunderstorm. I jogged, cussed in lowercase, and bribed with a coffee can of pellets like I was running a 5-star restaurant for idiots I love. One heifer stepped daintily into a ditch, glared at me like I was the weather, then allowed rescue with the theatrical patience of a queen. My phone buzzed in a pocket that was now a small aquarium. The auctioneer's office confirming the listing, cheerful as balloons. I said, "Great, love that for us," and then slid into the mud like a toddler discovering gravity. Somewhere, Brent posted a gym selfie captioned, "Hustle." I screamed into a bale. By 2 a.m., the cows were home, the fence was a suggestion, and I smelled like fear and pond. I didn't take selfies. No sainthood applications. I just trudged into the barn, flipped the office light, and sat on an upside-down bucket because chairs are for people whose lives don't involve hoof math. The auction date pulsed in my head like a car alarm. Grandpa's dirt under a tent, sold by a guy with a microphone and an ego. I called the ag co-op manager because he's basically a therapist who sells seed. He answered like he'd been waiting. We talked operator agreements and leaseback structures, continuity plans, and how banks love boring more than oxygen. If you can present a competent operator path, he said, lenders sometimes choose not to swing the axe. I took notes on a greasy envelope and underlined sometimes until the pen dented the table. After we hung up, I went spelunking in the co-op bylaws like a raccoon in a church kitchen. Buried 3 pages deep, under a paragraph only a lawyer's mother could love, was a clause about transitional operating agreements when continuity is threatened. It was tiny, nerdy, and shining like a nickel in the dust. I took a photo, kissed my phone, and apologized to it for all the times I dropped it on concrete. Morning staggered in on wet socks.
I called the lender's compliance counsel, voice steady, hair feral. "I have a continuity proposal," I said, and walked her through the operator agreement with the co-op standing in as adult supervision, me as administrative support, and my cousins as proud, unconsulted, decorative gourds. She was quiet in that legal way. That means she's building a tower of case notes in her head. "Send it," she said. "Today." I sent it with a cover letter so efficient it could host a TED Talk. Then I drove the fence line with a bucket of staples and a roll of high-tensile redemption. Every post I set felt like a prayer. Every prayer sounded like, "Please let boring win." At lunch, the auctioneer posted glossy photos of my fields like they were vacation rentals. Prime acreage, low drama. I reported the listing for misinformation. Marla uploaded a video in Aviators, declaring the auction illegal, which is bold for a person who tried legal once and bounced off. I did not engage. I forwarded the video to compliance, who probably watched it with popcorn labeled evidence. By evening, the storm had moved on to bully another county. The dirt steamed, forgiving as always. The lender emailed, "We will consider your continuity plan upon receipt of competency documentation from proposed operators." The co-op replied within the hour with letters that smelled like competence and diesel. Deadlines still snapped like mousetraps, but the axe hesitated. I walked the fence line again, boots squelching, hands raw, brain
Humming. Auction on the calendar like a dare. Weather calmed. Cows chewed. I whispered into the gold light. "We're not a backdrop. We're a job." The field breathed back, slow and stubborn. Somewhere in town, a man tested a microphone. Out here, the grass chose quiet. Retaliation. Their PR spin and my silence. Marla went full televangelist in her SUV, which is where apologies and conspiracies go to nest. Ring light on, seatbelt off, lashes at DEFCON 2. "I never wanted this," she sniffed, like the debt wandered in uninvited wearing Crocs. "My cousin is tearing our family apart." She dabbed her eye with a tissue that still had the store sticker. Comments erupted. 37 Facebook ants armed with scripture and exclamation points. Someone typed, "Karma is real, sweetie," which, thank you, Brenda, but I already have a spreadsheet. Brent followed with a montage set to royalty-free guitar. Slow pans of sunsets he didn't earn, and a tractor he still can't start. Captioned, "They can take our land, but not our legacy." "Sir, the clause says otherwise." He included a shot of his boot on the fence. "The fence is my fence." I reported the boot for impersonating labor. I did not engage. My thumb hovered over reply like a moth, then I fed the lender instead. I uploaded the co-op's transitional operator package, names, resumes, competency affidavits, production histories, and a cover letter that could floss a shark. I added photos of repaired fencing, invoices paid, and a calendar with planting dates. My email subject line, continuity plan, no drama, just dirt. Compliance responded with a saintly received under review, which is legal for keep being tedious. We adore that. Meanwhile, Marla's narrative evolved like a Tamagotchi. First, I was a traitor. Then, a city witch who never learned to love soil. Then, unstable, which is rich from the owner of a cry filter. She posted a screenshot of a text I sent that read, "Please read clause 7.3.2. The comments, "See how cold?" Yes, Janet, the clause is room temperature. Someone wrote, "Pray it away," and I pictured the loan officer bowing her head over an amortization schedule. I muted their stories and printed their stories. The DA likes PDFs more than popcorn. I mailed a thumb drive labeled Exhibit Sunshine to her office. No commentary, no emoji, just timestamps and captions. Legacy, we won. Day one. Let their own vowels testify. The lender asked for proof the co-op could keep animals fed and rows planted. I sent feed tickets, purchase orders, fuel logs, and a letter from the vet who has rescued more of our mistakes than I care to count. She wrote, "These folks show up at 2 a.m. I didn't cry, I just stapled." Their lawyer tried a hinge squeak of reason. "If she takes the farm, my clients will relinquish claims in exchange for extinguishing debt." Translation, "Take the grenade, darling. I declined with sprinkles." "The operator agreement proceeds independently," I wrote. "Debt obligations remain with the parties who triggered acceleration." He replied, "Unreasonable." I sent a smiling period.
Marla went live again, now flanked by a potted fern and a motivational sign that said, "Bless this mess," which, consider me blessed. "We just want to farm in peace," she said. Commenter: "Then why are you on live?" She blocked him and accused me of harassment by documentation. I can't help it. Paper is my love language. My silence grew teeth. Every time she posted, a lender specialist quietly requested another competence form from the co-op. Every time Brent subtweeted, the DA stamped a date on an exhibit. I baked banana bread. I repaired a gate hinge. I sent an email titled, "Follow-up, Transitional Fuel Allowance." Each click felt like a fence post set. Then the DA called. The notary has confessed to backdating under pressure. Her voice was calm, like a lake with sharks in it. She's cooperating. I said, "Copy," and pressed the cool of the counter with my palm until my hand remembered this is justice, not joy.
Marla uploaded a meme about haters. Brent posted a flexing arm emoji. The lender sent,
Pending approval of continuity plan, and the bank's tone shifted from axe to ledger. I took a drive at dusk. The fields wore that soft gold only earned by boring decisions. Near the mailbox, a neighbor's teen waved. "Saw the video," he said. "Which one?" I asked. He snorted. "All of them. You're winning by not talking." I smiled. "I'm busy." He nodded at the horizon. "It shows." Back home, I placed the co-op agreement packet on Grandpa's chair and rested a hand on it. "They're spinning," I told the empty room. "We're planting." My phone buzzed with another live notification. I swiped it closed, opened my inbox, and sent one more tidy email. "Try fail cycles. Last minute saves that aren't." It started with a whisper. "Quick sale." Marla found a buyer named Cade who sells cars from tents and real estate from vibes. He arrived in sunglasses the size of ambitions and said, "Cash offer if we
can close by Friday." The title clerk laughed delicately and faxed him a bouquet of liens. Cade's smile wilted like spinach in a sauna. "So these follow the land?" he asked. "Like burrs," I said cheerfully. He backed away, bumping a ficus. The ficus survived. The deal did not. Next, a bridge loan. Brent put on his squeaky blazer and marched into the bank with a pitch deck that was mostly sunsets. He said Synergy 4 times and Legacy 5, which I know because the loan officer texted me a skull emoji. Risk flagged them so hard the building's lights flickered. The underwriter printed a polite no and slid across a lollipop labeled, "Not today." Brent sucked on it like rebellion. They tried to shuffle equipment to a cousin's LLC named Future Farms 2, which sounds like a theme park where you can ride a tractor and cry. 2 days later, the repo truck rolled up with the swagger of a country song. The driver took selfies with the baler, the combine, and a particularly judgmental auger. Brent filmed him filming, and now we all have footage of consequences from 3 angles and a filter that adds sparkles. Marla attempted rebranding. She listed the farm on a website for wholesome retreats, promising hands-on cow experiences. The cows were not consulted. The site auto-rejected the listing because the property was under foreclosure proceedings, and also because there was a photo of Brent standing backward on a hay bale like a malfunctioning calendar model. She emailed support. Support replied with a gif of a shrug. It might have been automated. It felt personal. Bankruptcy was next. Their lawyer filed a flurry so dramatic it needed a wind machine. The trustee took one look and sniffed fraud like hound dogs read newspapers. "Why is this tractor in an LLC that formed yesterday?" he asked. Brent said, "Tax optimization, which is how you pronounce fraud adjacent when you want to impress no one." The trustee marked the file with a sticky note that might as well have said "cute try." Each clever pivot sprouted fees like zucchini in July. Late fees, legal fees, repo fees. A fee labeled Asset Recovery Coordination, which is banker for we had to get out of our chairs. Their group text turned into a chorus of huh? And wait, what now? Marla suggested starting a GoFundMe. Neutral cousin simply replied, "Read the room." Brent drafted a post titled "Help Save Our Heritage," and then realized comments are a place where towns remember who never showed up at fence mending. They tried to reverse the operator change by emailing the lender, "We're taking a step back." Lender replied, "The step forward is documented." Marla proposed a ceremonial key return video. I said, "Cute, but the bank prefers filings." She blocked me for 12 minutes, unblocked me to demand gate keys, then blocked me again for the aesthetics. In a burst of inspiration or fumes, Brent asked a payday lender for a six-figure advance. The cashier laughed into her coffee and handed him a pamphlet about budgeting. He left with the pamphlet and a scratch-off ticket that won $2. He posted it like a victory. Comments off. A neighbor drove by slow, window down. Heard they're trying to lease the fields to a guy with drones, he said. I raised a brow. To do what? He shrugged. Make content? The lender flags went up like prairie grass in a breeze. You cannot cure $600K with drone footage unless the drones also barter grain. They attempted asset thinning by selling scrap. Scrap turns out to be collateral if it's attached to anything in a ledger that frowns. The yard refused pickup without bank release. Brent tried to DIY release with a signature that looked like spaghetti. The clerk handed it back with tongs. Marla scheduled a prayer circle that doubled as a brainstorming session. Manifest checks, she whispered. The only check that manifested was the bank's. It did not bounce. Night before court, Brent texted, "Name a number." My phone lit up like a mosquito trap. I stared at it until the typing dot slowed, then stopped. He followed with, "Be reasonable." I put my phone face down and fed the barn cat, who was terrible at math and perfect at judgment. Their last play was a quick flip to a shell buyer, contingent on clearing all encumbrances by close. The shell buyer Googled encumbrances and changed his number. Marla cried in the SUV again, lashes like tarantulas on strike. We tried everything, she told her followers. I don't know. Have you tried reading? By morning, the fees had multiplied like rabbits with a gym membership. The lender's timeline didn't blink. The DA's exhibits had babies. The co-op had field plans drafted in pencil and patience. Brent hit send on one last caps-locked email to the bank. You can't do this. The auto reply, we are doing this. I made coffee, black and mean, and looked out at a sky pretending to be calm. The dirt doesn't care how loud you are. It cares who shows up with tools and a plan. They'd brought selfies to a spreadsheet fight. The spreadsheet won. Courtroom reckoning. Court smelled like pencil shavings and consequences. I wore my church black blazer and my don't test me ponytail, plus sensible shoes that said I walk away from nonsense at speed. Marla arrived in a cape coat like a bat with legal troubles. Brent wore a tie that had given up, looping his neck like a tired noodle. Their lawyer wheeled in a cart of binders labeled feelings. The DA set down 2 slim folders labeled facts and snacks, because I brought cookies, not to bribe, just to regulate blood sugar and hubris. Arraignment zipped past in government monotone. Then the show. The DA hit play on a slideshow that could have been titled How to Commit Crimes with Wi-Fi. First slide, the updated will, zoomed into the wrong middle initial, a crisp D where there has never been a D. Next slide, Grandpa's signature loop. Hers had one, theirs did not. The DA toggled between them like a magician saying, pick a card, but the card said felony. The jury leaned forward as one organism that smelled like coffee and curiosity. Then came the notary logs. On the date in question, the DA said, pointer calm, this stamp was out of service. She produced a photo of the broken stamp like it had an alibi. The courtroom murmured. The judge lifted a single eyebrow, which filed its own restraining order against foolishness. Defense rose, smoothed his tie, and croaked. They were grieving and confused. The judge's eyebrow traveled higher, an escalator to disbelief. From the gallery, someone's whisper escaped. Legacy, and the stenographer coughed into a smile. The DA queued up the greatest hits. Brent's deed folder selfie, Marla's legacy secured post, and a short clip of them high-fiving in the law firm lobby like they'd just adopted a puppy instead of an invoice. The gallery exhaled in a synchronized huh. Defense squeaked. Context! The DA said, the context is public, and clicked to a calendar screenshot. Brent's Wind Farm Lowell event. The jury made the face you make when the microwave beeps at 1 a.m. My turn. I took the stand with my librarian posture and my farmer hands. The DA walked me through chain of custody, Grandpa's ledger, the clause, and the barn note. I gave one Grandpa quote, if they cut corners, they'll cut you. Then swallowed the urge to decorate it with sarcasm. The courtroom felt the weight anyway. Did you alter any will? The DA asked. No, I said. Did you notify the lender of an operator change? Yes, I said. Per policy. Defense approached with a smile stapled on. You hate your cousins, don't you?
I dislike incompetence, I said, and glitter pens on legal documents. A snort escaped the gallery. The judge hammered order with a look. Flipped cousin slid in next, hair combed by regret, voice steady with new religion. She read the delete this texts like bedtime stories from the dark timeline. Copy his signature from the tractor manual, Marla had typed. Practice. The jury's heads tilted in a wave. Defense objected to reality. Overruled. Then the notary, small and tremoring, admitted to backdating under pressure. They said everybody does it, she whispered. Everybody does not, the judge intoned, as if addressing a kindergarten with pearls. Brent muttered. We were confused, and the judge said, without looking up, confusion is not a defense to forgery, like she'd been waiting her whole career to use that sentence on a man in a discount tie. Closing arguments tasted like two different soups. Defense ladled out grief, miscommunication, and the vague claim that Grandpa's spirit wanted vibes over statutes. The DA ladled policy, timestamps, and the part where math is not a suggestion. They did not stumble into the farm, she said. They staged a parade into it with a hashtag. Jurors stared at the evidence cart like it might sprout common sense. Deliberations took less time than it takes to find a pen that writes. The verdict arrived crisp, guilty on forgery and filing false instruments, fines hefty enough to make a yacht blink, probation with a curriculum titled Be an Adult 101, and a side buffet of civil headaches. No handcuffs. This isn't TV. But the air around my cousins deflated like a pool float at a cactus convention. We spilled into the hallway. The courthouse hum was fluorescent and mean. The DA clapped my shoulder like a teammate. You kept it clean, she said. Boring wins, I said. Behind us, defense began whisper-calcifying billable hours. That's when the lender's rep appeared, pressed suit, clipboard like a guillotine with tabs. Final demand schedule, she said, handing Brent a packet that made a thud heard by God. Per acceleration. He flipped, paled, flipped, paled again. This can't be real, he croaked. It's very real, she said, and very due. Marla clutched pearls that had seen too much. I took a step back so the splash wouldn't hit my shoes. Brent tried for dignity and found a cough. We'll appeal. The lender rep blinked. Appeal the timeline?
She asked. You can appeal the verdict. The clock, however, is ticking. Marla spun toward me. You happy? I shook my head. I'm relieved the dirt might get boring. She scoffed, but it sounded like a creak in an empty room. We walked out into daylight like people escaping a mediocre mall. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Compliance, approving the co-op continuity plan contingent on signatures from the grown-ups in the room. The courthouse steps felt like a stage. Brent sat, head in hands, tie wilting. Marla dialed a Facebook aunt. I stared at the sky, blue as a receipt you keep, and exhaled. Down the steps, the lender rep waited with a pen I'd trust with organs. Sign here for acknowledgement of receipt, she told Brent. He scribbled something that looked like a seismograph having a day. The pen didn't care. Paper, once again, did its quiet, relentless job, saving the dirt, not the dynasty. On the courthouse steps, I opened my phone like a door to a calmer universe and called the co-op manager. We're up, I said. Bring your most boring clipboards. He chuckled, which is country for copy that. The lender had approved the continuity plan contingent on signatures from adults, a species in short supply. I drove straight to the bank with a folder labeled agriculture, not feelings. Inside, the conference room smelled like toner and judgment. The lender's rep, clipboard guillotine, sat with two colleagues who looked like they teach night classes called Do Your Dang Paperwork. I pitched the operator agreement like it was a casserole. Hearty, labeled, feeds a crowd. The co-op runs the field operations, I said. I handle admin, compliance, scheduling. We maintain insurance, we submit production reports, we stop giving the bank heart palpitations. Condition? She asked, pen ready. Marla and Brent resign claims, I said. They keep the debt they triggered, like carnival prizes that squeak. She didn't laugh. Respect. We drafted signatures like origami. The co-op signed. I signed. The lender signed. I left the lines for my cousins flagged neon with arrows that read sign here, accept adulthood. Then I texted them a photo. Come fix your mess. The dirt has a babysitter. You still owe the daycare. They refused with the speed of fools.
We're not resigning anything, Marla wrote. Pride had borrowed her thumbs. We'll negotiate. With who, Gravity? I forwarded the non-response to clipboard Guillotine. She nodded like, yes, seen it before, filed under choices. The bank proceeded anyway. Structured workout, she said, sliding me a copy like a menu. The co-op would operate under lender supervision while foreclosure paused. Foreclosure paused. Those two words felt like shade on a heatstroke day. I nodded so hard my earrings tried to unionize. We rolled into a meeting at the co-op, where dry erase boards outnumber emotions 3-1. Planters, cultivators, fuel deliveries, seed varieties that don't ghost you at harvest. We assigned everything a box and a deadline. The co-op foreman, who has the charisma of a hydraulic jack, tapped the schedule. We plant Tuesday, he said. We harvest in patience. No reels, no quotes. Best sermon I've heard in months. Marla posted a throwback sunset while we were ordering seed. Brent filmed a slow pan of a manual he cannot read. I muted and faxed feed orders. The co-op trucks arrived with that diesel hymn, and for the first time in months, the place sounded like work instead of Wi-Fi. The field smelled like hope and atrazine. I cried exactly 1 tear, which I dabbed with a receipt. At dawn, I stood at the edge of the west field as the drill whispered seed into dirt. The foreman handed me a thermos that tasted like coffee and second chances. You did right, he said. You kept it boring. I smiled. High praise. He pointed at the horizon. We'll be out of your hair by dark. I glanced at my phone, where Marla was live again, accusing me of backroom deals. Sis, the only deal in that room was an amortization schedule. Midweek, the lender inspected. Clipboard Guillotine wore boots. That alone made me trust her more. We walked rows that had already forgotten drama. Production reports weekly, she said. Yes. Insurance certificates current. Yes. Fencing? Patched, braced, and frankly thriving. She checked boxes with the calm of a librarian shelving victories. Brent tried to block deliveries by calling the co-op and claiming to be primary vision holder. The clerk put him on hold and patched me in. Vision holder? She mouthed. I shrugged. Eye doctor? We kept moving. The cows ate on time like tiny, predictable accountants. The vet texted, good feed consistency. If you know, you know. Marla attempted sabotage adjacent by contacting the title office to clarify ownership. The clerk, who now loves me, replied, bring cookies and originals. Marla brought neither. I sent oatmeal raisin and a certified copy of our operator agreement. The clerk emailed a heart emoji, which is not
official but felt earned. By Friday, I could walk the yard without my chest asking for medical leave. The barn hummed. The co-op crew joked about weather like it was a coworker who takes weird lunches. I filed invoices, flagged deadlines, and stuck a note on the fridge. Boring is the point. Kendra came by with color-coded tabs and a casserole labeled Stability. How's Petty? She asked. Napping, I said. Principal's driving. Fees piled on my cousins like laundry in a heat wave. They refused signatures again, citing strategy. The lender proceeded anyway, because clocks don't negotiate. The workout stood. Foreclosure dodged like a wrench. Temporarily, conditionally, beautifully. The dirt exhaled. Tractors hummed under competent hands. The wind stopped sounding like worry and started sounding like wind. I drove to the far fence line at golden hour and bumped the gate with my hip like a secret handshake. The cows looked at me with their usual zero thoughts. I told the pasture, we saved you from the Dynasty and gave you a schedule. The pasture said nothing, which is correct. Behind me, the co-op guys laughed at something mechanical and complicated. Ahead of me, Rose ran straight as a lie detector. My phone stayed quiet. Group chat, dead of natural causes. Family brand, clearance. Pride, still louder than math. But the fields breathed, and that was the only follower I needed. Consequences and distance. Consequences don't knock. They kick the door with both boots. Marla listed her house the same week the lender sent another love letter. The staged photos were stunning. Lemons in a bowl, blanket folded like origami, and a caption that screamed cozy, while the disclosures whispered urgent. At the open house, a neighbor asked about the liens. Marla said, decor, and the neighbor said, on the deed? She laughed too hard and started offering scented candles to strangers. Brent relocated to a rental that used to be a dentist's office. The waiting room chairs stayed because he thought they were included. He filmed a new chapter video with a fake plant and an echo you could ice skate on. Sometimes life moves you, he intoned, while a dental mobile spun over his head with plastic molars smiling like creditors. Comments. Is that a suction tool? Neutral cousins scattered like cats when the vacuum turns on. One took a job 3 counties away. Another moved in with a boyfriend who owns 3 wrenches and a sense of calm. Group photos went dark. Christmas became an RSVP to silence. I boxed old family pictures with a stack of receipts, wrote history, not excuses on the lid, and slid it under a bed like a relic with boundaries. The notary lost her license in a letter that didn't raise its voice. She called me, small and steady. I deserved that, she said. I'm going to take a class on ethics. I said, take 2, and sent her the number for the bakery that hires anyone who shows up on time. She laughed, softer than regret. I can do on time, she said. Good. Start there. Marla's lawyer got a public scolding at a bar, hearing where the air smelled like toner and consequence. The panel thanked him for his creative timeline, the way you thank a toddler for finger paint on a wall. He nodded, chastened, and left with a brochure titled, Please Don't. Yelp would have been spicy if law firms had Yelp. Instead, the town had porch math. People remember who brought a casserole and who brought chaos. At the feed store, 2 old men talked over bolts and buckets. She kept it boring, one said. That's a compliment, the other replied. I pretended to compare hinge sizes and swallowed a smile. I started driving the farm road at dawn again. Same wind, fewer illusions. My shoulders dropped an inch like they'd been holding up a ceiling made of bad decisions I didn't make. The fields breathed in neat rows. The co-op guys waved with coffee mugs. The cows blinked at me with that gentle judgment they reserve for humans who think they're the main character. I waved back and apologized for the thunderstorm fiasco like I hadn't personally scheduled it. Relief came without confetti. No victory laps, no banner planes, just a steady pulse of quiet. Justice showed up in work boots, checked the fence, and didn't post about it. Petty took cat naps, woke up to sigh at a Marla video, and went back to sleep on a stack of filed invoices. One afternoon, I opened the mailbox and found an envelope with handwriting that knew my bones. The DA's office had returned evidence, tidy as church. Tucked inside, Grandpa's note I hadn't seen, the paper soft from years and coffee. Behind it, a tiny brass key with a tag in his blocky print, Barn South, top shelf. My heart did a small kick, the kind you get when the tractor finally turns over after a winter of no. I drove to the barn in a hush, like entering a library that smells like hay. The south locker gave with a grumpy clang. Top shelf, our photo at the county fair, me gap-toothed, him sunburned, taped to a box, the size of a sandwich. Inside, a $1 bill with a mustache drawn on Washington and a note. You kept the rule. Proud of you. No secret fortune, no golden ticket, just trust and a joke that tasted like black coffee. I folded the dollar back into the box and left it there. Let it keep watch. Locked up, breathed. The barn smelled like oil, dust, stubbornness, the expensive kind that pays off in August. Outside, the sky decided to be kind for 5 minutes. I walked the fence line once, boots biting gravel, and headed back to the road. The dirt doesn't love anyone. It rewards whoever shows up. Today, it felt like it nodded. Grandpa's last envelope. The DA's envelope sat on my kitchen table like a quiet guest who already knew the ending. Evidence returned. Tidy, polite, heavy with the kind of history that has coffee stains. My name on the front in marker that had seen courtrooms and birthdays. I sliced it open with a butter knife because drama deserves carbs. On top, itemized evidence list. All the neat little lies cataloged and sent back like library books no one should have checked out. Beneath that, a smaller envelope with handwriting that could drive a tractor. Grandpa's square, stubborn print. It said, for when you're finally bored. Cute, sir. Inside, a brass key the size of a promise, tag tied with baling twine, labeled Barn South, top shelf. My heart did a hiccup like a lawnmower catching spark. No orchestra. Just the soft clink of a key saying we're not done, kid. I drove down the farm lane without music because some visits don't need a soundtrack. The barn greeted me with its usual chorus, swallows sking, rafters settling, the ancient Pepsi sign pretending to be art. South locker, top shelf, the key turned with a little protest, like any elder family member. Door swung. Dust motes stirred like nosy neighbors. There it was.
a shoebox that had lived 3 lives and collected 2 counties worth of tape. On the lid, our photo from the fair, me gap-toothed with mustard on my chin, Grandpa sunburned in a ball cap, both of us holding corn dogs like diplomas. Under the photo, a note in his block print. You looked at the boring parts. Proud of you. I opened the box like it could bite, and inside was... not gold. Not a title. Not a second will or a secret bank account in the Cayman cornfields. A single dollar bill, mustache drawn on Washington with a flourish that said mischief runs in the blood. Under it, one more line. You keep this if you ever forget what a dollar actually is. Earned. I laughed. I cried the one tear again. It's a show-off. I heard him, clear as if he was doing the morning weather from the kitchen. Rules aren't mean. They're fences. Fences keep the herd in and the nonsense out. The dollar winked at me like, don't get cute. Pay your fuel bill. No twist of secret fortune, no deus ex machina with a checkbook. Just a joke, a key, a photograph that smelled like summer, and a sentence that fit in my pocket. It felt more expensive than any pile of cash my cousins thought they were owed. Expensive the way honesty costs you time, knees, and a good pair of boots. I put the dollar back in the box, folded the note over it like a blanket, left it there on the top shelf to supervise the oil cans. Some things don't belong in wallets. They belong where the work lives. On my way out, I stood in the barn doorway and let the light make promises I could actually keep. The rows outside were small and straight. The co-op's drill had signed its name in seed, and the dirt had nodded. I locked the locker, palmed the key once, and tucked it on a nail by the door. If anyone asks, it's the contingency plan. For what? For forgetting why we bother. I walked the fence line one last time, boots clicking gravel like punctuation. The wind was wind, not worry. The cows blinked hello with the emotional range of toast, which is comforting. By the road, my truck sighed the way machines do when they know they're loved but underpaid. I touched the hood, thanked it for its service, and promised it nothing but oil and boring. As I pulled away, I caught the barn in the rear view, leaning into its age like an old man telling a good joke for the 50th time. The mustached dollar stayed on the shelf, guarding what matters, a rule, a place, and the kind of legacy you can't post, only practice. The fields breathed under steady hands, and the debt sat exactly where they insisted it should. Grandpa would have called it fair and poured coffee. Here's the takeaway, plain. Integrity is expensive up front. Time, patience, showing up at 2 a.m., reading the boring parts. But it's cheaper than chaos. And boring wins because boring is feed ordered on time, fences fixed in the rain, signatures that match, and clocks you don't try to argue with. They brought selfies to a spreadsheet fight. The spreadsheet won. Want more petty justice bedtime stories? Subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss the next mess. Watch next, The Neighbor Who Forged a Deed.
And earned 5 years mowing a cemetery. New stories weekly. See what comes due next.